and today I'm going to be showing you how to put together your Adirondack chair. First couple things that you need to make sure that you have is a surface that's fairly flat. So my table saw works quite well, but you can also use any one of the tables over there and just make sure that it's sitting fairly level. So when I look at my table saw, it is level, and that way it's going to help me level some of the things that I need. Two drills, your impact, and this one needs to have a driver on it. That's for a Robinson bit, and then a countersink. And a countersink needs to have about that much extension, and it should always be laid down, so you don't want to drop it and break it. A square of some sort would be great. You need, these are about just under 1 inch screws. You don't need these for a lot of the stuff, but just for a couple. And then I got a big bucket of 2.5 inch screws that you can use as well. Okay. Hopefully those aren't too big. They might be a little bit. Then you need to have, these are called carriage bolts. And once we get to them, I'll show you how many you need. And you'll need your hex nuts, your locker washers, and some of your generic washers. So we'll get those out when we get going. There you go. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is get these two large pieces out, and you want to make sure that you have your bolt holes already drilled into them. Okay, and you also will need your bolt holes drilled into your into your legs and your two back legs as well. So those are the bolt holes. And the booklet, it will note that all these other pieces should have drill holes pre-drilled. Don't do that because it's going to make it for a mess. Your wood's not going to be totally square, so things won't always line up if you've already pre-drilled. So what you want to make sure is you just have the bolt hole, and then we'll drill as we go along. Okay. First thing you want to do is have these two pieces out, and you want to decide which side you have facing out. They're going to sit up like this once we put the legs on. Okay. But we want to get the distance correct first, so this piece goes on first. All right. The way we do it, line it up like this, and every piece you put down, you want to glue as well. Okay. So you want your two drills, your glue, and then a couple screws. All right, so countersink, how this works is you always want to make sure that you are pre-drilling first before gluing. So we don't glue and then drill. Drill first. And I always like to put one side in first. Run a bead of glue. You don't need a lot because you don't want a lot coming out. If some does come out, you want to get a rag and wipe the excess glue off. Make sure it's seated nice and tight back here. If you want to come get a shot of that right here. You want it to sit nice and tight there. And again, when you're not using that countersink drill, try having it laying down. Until it's sitting flush. And don't go too deep because you don't want the wood to crack. And so I got some glue oozing out there. If you want to show them that. So just a wet rag. And you don't want it super wet. You want it just damp because you don't want to wreck that wood underneath it too. All right, so pretty much the same thing on the other side. And a bead of glue. Two screws. And you'll notice how I seat the screws in first, like that. And then I go ahead and zip them in. And you can pause it there. All right, so the next part is now that we've got this lined up, you're gonna take your stool, or your chair, sorry, bring it down like this, and then you're gonna put the front plate on. Now the front plate, it goes on in a strange kind of way. So you see that there's a little lip here. So that's the part that's going to be facing the ground once the chair is up. So you want to line it up just like this. Get a top shot of that so that you can see. So I start with one side. I make sure it's butted up nice and tight there. Countersink. And then here you don't want to go too low, right? Because then we don't want to pop out here. So I go right about there. A little bit of glue. And get your screws. And this is always a good thing to do. Makes it easy. Then you can line up. Like that. Sit this in. So I was slow at the end there. And then I got some glue coming out. Wipe that away, both sides. And then we're gonna go ahead and repeat. So on this side, again, you wanna use, you might have to muscle it a little bit. So this is a trick. So you'll see that here it's flush, but here it's not. It's because this board is bending a little bit. Just, it's a natural bend. So what I do is I'll zip in the first one. Then I'll pull it out, and then I'll do the wood glue because the next time I don't want it to really move. So I'll zip a screw in on this one. And then I'll muscle this out a little bit. See how that flexes? All right, I'm gonna put my hip into it, and then I'll countersink it. Now, of course, these are all experienced techniques that I've learned over the years. If you forget to do one, it's not a big deal. It just allows the chair to look a little bit cleaner at the end of it all. Cool, that one's done. All right, so the next part is we have our front plate and our back plate on there. We're gonna go ahead and start putting our seats on. So with whatever you're doing, you want to decide the order in which you want your seats. Now, I have a certain pattern here, right? I got all different colors. So I'll start with maybe a light one, or sorry, a darker one, and then I'll do a light one. I'll kind of choose, but we just do one at a time, okay? And once I zip one in, Kian will continue filming and just start flying forward with super speed, because they're all going to be the same. Okay. But the important part is spacing. So you want to make sure that all the boards are spaced out appropriately. You don't want them too tight. So the last board is going to sit on here, and then it's this board that will go on. But we don't actually put this board on until like the very end of the build. All right. What I like to do is bring this down again. And for the first one, about that much spacing. Do you see? Okay. About that much spacing between the front plate and this one here. Okay. Let me have me my countersink. So with these ones, the nice thing is you only need one screw to hold them in. All right. So I've done that. Get a little bit of glue. And here is the trick that's going to save you so much time. If you take the screw and your drill and you zip it in until it comes out the other side, it's going to notch right into your pre-drilled hole, and then you don't have to go around searching for it. That easy. Okay. On this side, again, make sure the spacing is pretty good. And then when it comes to the seats, it gets a little tricky because you have to kind of lift it up without cracking the wood. Get some glue in there. You don't need a lot, just a little dab. A little dab will do you. Zip this in a little bit until you find So you'll need audio, maybe even a title. So if you look here on the third seat, I drilled through and you can see that there's a screw inside the bolt hole. So when I go to put the bolt on, we're going to run into this jam. The bolt's not going to go through, okay? So if that happens to you, what you want to do is pull this part out, okay? And then you're going to want to re-drill it, but you're going to countersink it at an angle. All right? So now, that screw is going to go in at an angle, and it should clear. It should clear that bolt hole. Okay? Pretty neat. All right, I'm going to keep going.
Am I in your shop, Felix?
So again, I think I got it cleared. If I went straight down, let's see. Nope. Back it out. Perfect. Alrighty, let's do dark. Get the stencils and make sure that the legs are orientated upwards correctly. So these small holes will be the top of the legs. This will be what touches the ground. So you just want to make sure you line it up. So this one's gonna set like that, and this one line it up. This one's gonna set up like this. Okay, so now I got the orientation. I see that there's a big gouge of this, so I'm gonna just switch them. Put this one over here. I'll put this one over here. Okay. So, first thing you got to do is you need to grab a carriage bolt. And you need to have a washer. Okay. So that's going to go on like this. Do that wood like that. Okay. Get that set up for the other leg as well, so you can pick them up at the same time. Perfect. And then you're going to go ahead and grab one of these. And this is for each bolt. A walking nut, washer, and one of these. Okay. So on the back side, it goes washer, walking, and then the nut. Okay. So I don't know if one of you can get in here to see this angle. So washer, walking, and then nut. Like that. And you can just loosely put them on and then do all of them. this one nice and level. Alright, so pause it for a second. Did forget, because you want to get some glue in there. So just pump some in there from the top, like that. Let it run down. And then, once you think it's come down enough, just zip it in like that. And then release. The nice thing about carriage bolts is that they end up grabbing onto the wood, so it's pretty easy to tighten down. All you need is a wrench to get in there, and then you can release it. It's a spanning wrench. Use one of these. And then you guys can come on this side. So you can see under. One of you at least. So you want to tighten it down until you start seeing that that washer get compressed into the wood. And then to the top. So yeah, like pretty much any joints you have, you want to make sure that you're gluing. And if you come show the glue oozing out on this side. And then you come in with the rag. You want to make sure you wipe all that glue off. Better to get the glue when it's wet. Alright, on this side you can speed this part up.
I'll edit it in later.
Felix, are you gonna stay later or you gotta go?
I'll stay for like 10 minutes after, I think.
Okay.
About the same for me. I can stay a bit longer though, I think, maybe.
Let's see, hopefully I can get this done.
At this rate, we'll probably finish in like less than an hour, so.
Alright.
I just have to go text my mom like when the day ends, probably.
Sure.
And same thing with mine. I have to go eat something. At one point, Felix, do you want to take over? I want to eat something. I haven't eaten since like 10. I'm starving.
Oh yeah, I'll take over.
Why don't you go do that now, Kian?
Okay, once the shot is finished.
That's good for now. Good.
Okay.
You're good. Okay, so we're gonna put the backs on now. We want the angles to be going this way. So when this comes on, it's sitting like this, okay? If you have it like this, that's gonna be a wrong angle. You want it sitting like this, okay? So what we do is you have your carriage bolt with your washer on it. That goes on the outside. Then you're gonna get a little bit of glue. Like that. On. Washer. Locking. Yeah. And the most important part is you want to make sure that this is level coming up. So we're going to tighten this down. So it moves a little bit, so then you can bring your level here, making sure that that's coming up straight like that. So we're looking at this one here, okay? Once it is level, you're gonna really crank this on. And then you're gonna repeat it on that side. So, a little bit of glue. And here, this is where you can speed it up. Carry the bolt through, washer on. Locking washer. Yeah. That's okay, keep filming. Because this is going to be the sped up part. Ian's going to add some sweet music to it.
I'll just like promote or just do a video on top of it.
Cool. Okay. And then we're going to wipe the glue. And then there you go. So if you guys need to go make a text, that's cool. We'll do. All right, we're going to put on this piece now. Come on over so you can see. So we're going to line it up. Come take a close shot here. So we want it. We're just gonna eyeball it. You want it to be kind of where this tip is right in the middle of this beam here. It's sitting, that's good. So mark it with like a pinky finger, about that much, coming out the back. And then what I do is I hold it and then I countersink one into it. And you want to go down at a little bit of an angle. And if you need somebody to hold this for you, then definitely do that. And then I put a little bit of glue on here. And then, this is the secret trick. Zip that screw in a little bit so it sticks out. And then you can find that hole seated in there. Like that. Okay. Perfect. And then on another one, on the next one, we're going to look over and line it up something similar as well. So if I just leave it, I see that this doesn't connect very well. So you do have to muscle it a little bit. That's normal. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just in the ballpark. Any errors or mistakes, hardly noticeable. So then, good, pre-drilled. Got a little bead of glue there. You can still do that same trick with the screw. Sink it through a little bit, and then find pre-drilled hole. Beautiful. Look at it, make sure it looks good, and then you're going to zip in another one up here. It's important that we go down straight, and then line. And then you can do it on this side. Easy. Awesome. Hey, I got my paparazzi here filming it. You can pause it, guys. Okay, so the next part is we're going to put on our middle back, which is this one here. So that's the one that goes right in the middle, okay? And there's a secret to this. You got to make sure that we're lining up and finding the middle. You want it to come straight up. So straight across should be 20 inches, and actually it's 20 and a quarter. So we're going to mark it at 10 and 1/8, and that's going to be the center on this board. So you want to mark that there, okay? And then back here, this one's kind of tricky. You want to go the largest across, and again we have 20 and a quarter. So you want to mark it at 8, or at 9 and a quarter. No, wait, 10 10 and 1/8. Did I do that down here? Yeah, 10 1/8. 10 1/8 up here. Perfect. So what I find is turn the chair towards you now. And then you're going to take your back. And it's really just about eyeballing. So come on this side so you guys can get the camera shot. I line it up like this. Like that. So you can see how it's going to be close to the middle. Right down here. And then what I'm going to do is drop this down and then hold it. And I'm going to put my thumb here to make sure it sits flush. And then zip this right into the... Watch your finger in the back, just in case it comes out. And then a little bit of glue on here. And a screw. Now, you'll notice this is a 2.5 inch screw. It's going to come through, okay? So that's why I have a few kicking around of just 2-inch screws. These ones here, okay? So that shouldn't come through. So I'm going to zip this through like that, and then I can easily find it, mark it. Alright, now on this back side, I'm going to look, and I have it marked in the middle here. So I'm just going to eyeball it so I see that it's fairly close in the middle. Hold it, countersink it in, make sure that you keep that angle with the countersink so you don't come flying through the wood. Try to keep it right in the middle. A little bit of glue. Screw, and again on this one, I'll come to the back, so you'll want just a 2-inch screw. Beautiful. Okay. Now what I like to do is I bring this down on the floor. And then the next two ones we're going to put on are these two. So you can pause the video there. Alright, so these two, we're going to put these two on, and then we'll center the other backs on there. So what I do is I line this up with this mark here, and make it flush with my finger in the back, and then pinch it and hold it. Take my countersink. Glue. Screw, and you can use the 2.5 inches. Mark. And then we're going to do the same right away on this side. Don't worry about that flopping around on the top. We'll fix that afterwards. Again, line it up, make it flush, pinch it. Countersink. A little bit of glue. Seal it through. Move it through a little bit. Now we're going to line these up, so you want to go right to the edge. Come over here, so you can see. Right to the edge here. This shot right here where I'm pointing. We want it to line up like that. We don't want it to come over, we want it to be flush with that corner. Like that. And then zip it in this way. And you want to try to get it right into the center of the board. Okay? And then get a little bit of glue back there. You don't need a lot of glue. Anything that spills, we'll clean up afterwards. screw. Nice. On this side, same thing. Center it. Glue. All right. You want to keep pausing or keep rolling? Doesn't matter to me. All right. So the next part is getting your other backs in place. So I do 2 at a time, and I always focus on the bottom first to make sure that spacing is about equal. You guys see that there? About spacing equal. Okay. So I see that this one I'm happy with. Maybe I'll bump it over a little bit. I hold it with my thumb, take this board out, make sure it's in where I want it to be, countersink it, and do that whole routine again, pinch it. So it really, I make it look easy because I've done this quite a few times, but having a partner will really help you.
I think I just.
And then we do the bottom one as well. You can zip it off. It's fine because this is going to be music during this part anyhow. So yeah, there's noise in the background. Sick, eh? Cool. Pause it there. And now we just do the last one. Alright. This piece goes on here now. So we'll just line that up nicely. And you want to make sure it's lined up fairly centered. With me. And then we're going to do 2 on each side. Blue.
Wait, should I speed up this part?
Yeah, like explain what I did there, and then you can speed up.
He chisels out the hole, screws in the bolt. That's it. Okay.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and put these ones on. So you can pause it for now. I'm just going to grab over here. I'm going to mark the middle of this because this is going to sit on the outside. So I don't want it not in the middle. So I've taped my ruler. We're 3 1/4. So you want to mark it at 1 and 2, 1 and 1/8. Sorry, no, 1 and 5/8. 1 and 5/8. And then you're going to center that right there. And then you're going to hold it. You're going to get your countersink. Glue. All the way along like that. And you want to make sure that the screws you have aren't going to go through. They shouldn't. Line it up again. All right, now you're going to take your level and you want to make sure that this is level. You're going to take this guy and you're going to straighten out until it's level. Okay? Put it down, that's pretty good. Now, this is positive. All right, so this piece here, we're going to pull this back a little bit because we don't want it to go through here, okay? So we just need a small countersink now. And you want to make sure it's lined up. You don't want to miss it. So I usually just eyeball it. And this is the important part. You're going to want to use a small screw for the lower one, okay? Smaller screw, because any larger will keep it up. Okay, so now that's in there really, really well. You keep filming because now we're going to do this part. We're going to go a little bit faster. And you guys lose speed. Colin, I'm almost done with this drill.
Oh, don't worry about it.
So, down a little bit. Center it. 5/8. there, guys. You can pause it or keep filming. Doesn't matter. Okay, we're gonna put these ones on now. These sit on top like this. Okay. So mark your middle on this side, 1 5/8. And then this is going to be 6 inches long. Decide what side you want facing out. And then mark that side, 6 inches. Middle is 3. So line those two marks up. And you should have a very much centered piece. Okay? Then you're going to go ahead, take your countersink, and you're going to do 3 holes. Make sure your countersink is extended out enough. So your first one is going to go down the leg, and the other one's going to go down into the bracket. Make sure it's lined up. There. And I usually like to use big screws on these ones, and then just 2-inch screw on the bracket. That sits flush like that. Okay. Keep filming. I'll do the other side really quickly here.
Should we speed this part up?
Yeah.
I just realized I could have made this 1,000 times easier and just recorded this on my phone, but
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
me and Felix both have our phones here, but it's fine.
Well, it's a little late for that.
It's fine. Mr. Spencer will show me how to get the thing on my PC tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, it might just take a bit longer, but
It's okay. It'll get done when it gets done. I said I'm not in a rush. I'm just thankful that you guys are helping me. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a long time now. I just never have the time to do it.
and now with 4 classes you do.
Well, it's difficult to show a child how to, or a kid how to make, put this chair together.
It's because of the fact you have 4 classes that you have to make it, not because you have time because of 4 classes.
Perfect. All right, so you can pause it there, and then we're gonna put the arm on now, which is gonna sit like that, okay? But we wanna make sure that it's sitting centered, so it's not off like that. So there's a trick to do that. Take your arm, make sure it's seated all the way against the back leg. Take your pencil, and then draw a mark here. That shows where the bracket is, the support, going up against it. So you're gonna get this line on there like that. Okay? Then you're gonna take your ruler, and you're gonna measure across, straight across from one edge to the next, and see what you get. I'm at 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sixteenths. So I need 2 and 3 sixteenths to get me right in the middle. So that's gonna be my middle mark there. All right? Then you're gonna find the middle on this bracket, which is 3 and 1, 2, 3 sixteenths. So I need 1.5 and roughly 1/16. Somewhere close is good enough to me. So then when we go ahead and glue this, we can look underneath and match those 2 lines up, and then we should have a very centered one. So come take a look underneath here. So see how there's these 2 lines? Now they're marked up and they should be in line, okay? So this is the part that's important that you have to follow. You're not going to screw this down just yet. You're going to actually put quite a bit of glue on top of this bracket, okay? And then you need to have 2 clamps ready. Try to seat it on as centered as you can to prevent the glue from going everywhere, and make sure it's seated back here as well. And this is where a buddy comes in handy, but you can also do it by yourself. You're going to take these clamps and you're going to clamp it down to let the glue dry. And once the glue's dry, then we'll go back and zip in screws on the bottom. But you just want to make sure that it's centered in line. Once that glue sets, you're not going to be able to move it. Get a shot underneath to see that glue oozing out. That's what you want, so you know you have enough.
Wait, should we pause?
Huh?
Should we pause?
No, keep filming. And then I'll show the back, what you can do on the back here. So, the last thing I'll show you is take your level, come over here. We have a level surface, so you want to make sure that this arm is level. So you're going to put your level on it and then push up on the back until you have something that's leveled. And then you're going to hold it there. And this is where a buddy might come in handy. Come around back over here, because you got to see how I drill. Maybe go on that side. On that side of the table. You're going to take your drill bit, making sure it's level, and then you're going to put countersink in about a 45 degrees. And you're going to want to use only a 2-inch screw. And if you have something that's sitting flush, then you can glue it. For right now, I'm not going to glue mine. And then later on, we can go back and put a second one in there. Okay? So that's all you have to do with your arm. We're going to go ahead and do exactly the same thing on this side. I'm not going to film it because I'm going to let Mr. Weeza.
Oh, that's my mom calling.
It's all good.
That's my mom calling.
And then key in at the end of the video, maybe tomorrow, we get a couple pictures of the final product.
Okay, yeah, sure. I can get a couple right now.
Well, we gotta leave it to dry, and then I'll take the clamps off. So
Oh, it's done now?
it's done. Look at that. We built a chair in a day, guys.
In like an hour.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Take a couple right now. Oh, sorry. I got a perfect picture.
I like that multi-stain. It's pretty neat looking.
It looks really cool. It's rainbow, but wood shop.
Yeah.